Welcome to the Temple of Speed! The Monza Autodrome plays host to the third round of the ARC Endurance Championship today. And we have, although the 15th is not on the track, we have the 15 cars set up, 7 hypercars, 8 GTs. Now I have nowhere to put the camera. And there we go. Luckily, Frederick left as soon as he went into the pits. Today's disqualifiers, I believe it was, I think 2 from each class went home today. I know I watched the GT qualifying session. Logan Cool and Joel Grant once again missed the field. And I believe it was a shock, very loud exit from Adam Pelk in hypercars as well. I think there was another hypercar that went out, but I don't know. We're just kind of in the warm-up session. H.A. Knickel is actually absent today, so the other league admins, administrators, moderators, etc. are trying to make sure that everything is set up appropriately, since Robichaud is actually the one hosting this lobby and not even one of the other admins like Ridwan or Luke. Which, yes, that is one of probably the bigger stories for this race, is that he's in the pits, but Ridwan Hamza, on reserve for FR Racing, is in the field today, as I believe it is, what's his name? Boryoshi, that's who. My fault. Is not today here. Yep. And getting right into things with the Rikerisms and just general incorrect English. Yeah, Yoshi is absent, so Ridwan is taking his place on reserve for today's 60 minutes of Monza. Kieran Kevern is having a moment through the Ascari chicane. Anytime you're ready. I said anytime we are ready. Matt Hall's on the track. I think they're setting up the grid. Now think about it, it's probably difficult too, because GT qualifying was kind of done awkwardly. That's probably why we're having such a difficult time getting the grid set. A couple drivers left before we could properly track the qualifying times, everybody. I wish I had some elevator music to play for reviewers. I was not prepared for that. Just, like, pull up another tab and start listening to, like, music from Gran Turismo 5 or something. I don't know. But we will get on with the proceedings all in its due course here. Well, then might as well take this opportunity to make a quick mention of our title sponsor, DIVEBOMB, because that's what any other motorsport would do in their downtime, is plug their sponsors and endorsers, such as DIVEBOMB and the Racing Rats. You can find them, you can find DIVEBOMB on Instagram, and you can find the Racing Rats in the Assetto Corsa mod forums, I'm assuming. I don't know how Assetto Corsa works on PC. I have a PlayStation 5. And that's why I'm commentating Gran Turismo and not, like, I don't know, racing on Assetto Corsa or iRacing or something or other. Yeah, I think there really isn't anything else to report. Most of the cast is kind of just the usual suspects, except for Red One. Everyone else that was here at least attempted to be here last week at Barcelona. I had to think for a sec. Deshaun Davis, I don't think he qualified last week, but he attempted to, and he made it this week over top of his teammate. That's okay, I'll check. Okay, no. Heredia still does not have a valid livery. So... Here we go, finally. I was just about to say, are we on one of those hidden camera shows or something? This is a view. We are about to, well, take the fake green. Obviously, we still have the formation lap. I'm not gonna lie, I was fully expecting somebody to be a wise guy and floor it on the green, but no, everybody is staying, you know, mostly still. Kevin is really getting that tire heating in, but I think it's the brakes you gotta worry about here. It's Monza turn 1, and I'd be very surprised if we don't see somebody go bowling, whether by intent or not, is just not relevant. So Dominic Kubinski, after a dominant victory at Daytona and disappointing outing at Barcelona, takes the pole position for Monza. He will lead the field to green. Heredia on the front row alongside him. The reserve of Red One, yes, the Red One of reserve. Alongside his teammate Matt Hall will take up row 2, then Kieran Kevern, Luke Allen, and Deshaun Davis will round out the field for hypercars. Darius, the Volvo, I still haven't been told how to say that last name, is the pole sitter for GT in the Volvo. Yep, I already said that part. Brain. I have to get into the rhythm here. I kind of got iced for like 10 minutes. And then I should really keep these two straight by now. It's because I'm not seeing either of their actual names. Hang on. There's that folder. I have way too many of them. $17. Okay, so this is Scott Frederick. I just had to make sure so I didn't talk out of my behind. Yep, Scott Frederick alongside the Volvo. This camera is not helpful. Then Stefan Robichaud, Eunice Itkonen, Ayrton Frederick. This is Holden Horn, Robbie Ganesh, and Marcus Snow rounds out the GT field. As trouble continues to stir in the Discord, but it doesn't matter because neither of them are actually in the race anyway. I just have to ignore it because if I start paying attention to it, as is technically my job as an admin of the server, I will miss the broadcasting action, so just turn that off and turn my tablet off, and if I accidentally mix up Holden Horn and Scott Frederick during the race, you can blame the people in the server yelling at each other. But as we round Parabolica, it seems weird to have a track where every single corner is named, because we've gone from Daytona to Barcelona to here. I don't actually know the names of the second chicane. I know it has one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But what I can think of is the green flag we are about to see. We are green from the Autodromo di Monza. Yes, I know my Italian accent is terrible. I will never do it again. Kabinski gets an easy jump off the start, and Ridwan's going to try and overtake Heredia as well as we head down to T1. Any bullying? Ridwan's gotten a bump, but that looked like lag because Kevin... Oh, yep, there we go. Both Ferraris are in it now. Scott Frederick has taken the GT lead, and everything looked clean in the GT category, but it is Matt Hall getting absolutely just annihilated at turn 1. And his teammate didn't fare a whole lot better at turn 1 either. But it was probably just lag, knowing GT7. I didn't really see any obvious contact or any, unforgivable mistakes. Ridwan got bumped, but Cavern clearly didn't jump out as there's a spin in the back of the GT field. Ayrton Frederick keeps it on the racetrack, just about, but he's going to go back to the end of the queue for that. I guess we'll see Ridwan attempt to pick his way through the field, despite being on the medium compound for the start of the race, as I believe... Okay, no, that's about half of the prototype category has done that. Kabinski will have to make good on his escape plan, because we saw what last week Heredia's medium tire strategy worked once the tires fell off. However, I don't think we'll see the same kind of fall off here that we saw at Barcelona, since there aren't really that many corners. I've never realized that the thing on the bottom, well, the bottom left is, it's the course map for everybody except for Heredia, in which case it shows me his session lap times. Why the heck is that? Either way, Kevern is right up to the diffuser of the 671 car, which is still not valid, so... I don't remember how that works. Luke Allen did qualify this time. He missed Barcelona, but he has made the field for Monza. Deshawn has already been overtaken by Ridwan, and Matt Hall is already back ahead of the GT cars. I didn't think it would take very long, so... Well, Deshawn Davis is gonna probably end up behind Matt Hall, as he has made an error of the second chicane. Cavern very much on the very edge of doing a bit of sand walking. I don't think that's a term, but I'm going to pretend that it is. Up to Ascari, and I'd say one of them, probably the only truly difficult corner on the track, even though I actually suck at all of them, which is why I'm in the commentary box. I hate this place, but I know it gives good racing. We're going to see a little bit of that racing here. Ridwan's forced the long way around at Parabolica, and he will not succeed. He will find some runoff, and Luke Allen will maintain fourth for the time being. But, well, Ridwan's got another 53 minutes and change to get by him again. I think it's just a matter of time for the Australian reserve driver. They are both on mediums, so it is strategy-wise also an important overtake to make. Dominic, meanwhile, is absolutely making a good escape. He's almost got a 4-second lead over Heredia. And there really isn't any sign of tire wear on any car yet, since we've only done 3 laps, and this is, after all, Monza. Oh, Ridwan had a massive second chicane there, as up ahead, Kieran has a penalty. Traditions, I suppose. Oh, Ridwan might be getting one for that exit of this first Lesmo corner. We'll see what the powers that be apparently deem him not guilty, so I guess Realistically, he lost time, but this game doesn't always keep track of that. So it's difficult to say at times. You know, as we make a quick check-in on the GT field, Ravi Ganesh was doing well to get up to 12th overall, but he has a penalty that'll probably knock him down at least behind Holden and bring him back to Frederick and to Snow. Luke is still a man on the run, trying to escape the FR Racing Ferrari. Red one with a slightly better exit from Parabolica, slipstream benefits as well. We'll go on board with him to see if he can put up a better attack into turn 1. It looks like no, he will not even be remotely close enough. He's certainly close enough here, but the second chicane is a much riskier passing zone. Although, with the run he just got, he may very well get clear before the braking zone. It depends on what he decides to do. He'll take the inside for the first half of the chicane, and Luke does not contest. Grid 1 barely gets it stopped, but that's all that matters, is that he got it stopped. Luke decides not to spend much more energy trying to fight off a car that's very clearly just going to put pressure on him until he cracks. Well, Scott Frederick is the category leader, but that half-second penalty will have something to say, especially with the Volvo of Darius literally right on his rear wing. He may just pass him before that penalty even gets served, the way things are looking. To the inside for the Volvo. Porsche later on the brakes gets himself back ahead before the exit of the chicane. Routine defense from the 17 car. But again, it doesn't really matter. The other Porsche also has a penalty of his own. Unclear what exactly will become of that. He may be overtaken by Ganesh. Oh, that's not going to help his case. Lucky to keep the car on the road there. And there, the Porsche, oh man, everybody's kicking up some dirt on the exit of the second Lesmo corner there. Except for Ayrton Frederick, who has a chance to go ahead of the Supra. And it looks like he'll be clear if he can get the braking done. He will. The Corvette moves to 5th overall. No, excuse me, 5th in class. Right? No. Yeah, because Darius exists, so 3, 4, 5, 6. Icon numbers. Now he's 5th overall, because that is a very costly half-second penalty for the Porsche. Down the inside goes Ganesh. Less numbers, more overtaking. Sudden attack at Parabolica puts the Supra on top of this 4-car just cluster. Like a 4-pack of sodas here. Considering there's a Mountain Dew car in the mix, that's admittedly quite fitting. Corvette's not done. Look at that speed on that V8 horsepower engine. 171 on the brakes. V8 horsepower engine. Yeah, V8 American engine. The Supra is defending. The Supra's been tagged by the Porsche. Around goes Ganesh. Ayrton Frederick will make off like a bandit. And Marcus Snow promoted to 13th overall. Ganesh has just been deposited into the grass. That one's not going to be popular with the stewards. I think I don't know, that could have been lag. It probably was, considering this is GT7, but that did just kind of look like the Porsche did get into the back of him. It's hard to say, considering, you know, I didn't have the best view of that collision from the trackside camera. So it's difficult to say. All I know is that Supra got bumped by something, regardless of whether it was a Porsche or lag. And the Supra was no longer on the racetrack. That's all that I know. Yeah, he's just so far ahead that I don't count him. I do the same thing all the time. I try to look at the action. I'm not Fox. I just look at where things are happening and not where the leader with his 5.5 second advantage, because he's on the softer compound of tires. How in the world are you tire warming, my guy? We're at full racing speed. Marcus Snow is still... He's trying to get to 12th overall himself. That position has been held by 4 different cars. well, it will be held by 4 different cars if he can make the pass here, going towards T1. A little bit of momentum. Frederick is defending the inside, but that may leave him vulnerable on the exit. Depends on how he takes, and how Marcus Snow takes the first chicane. I'd say that's about even. The Mazda did get out of that chicane better, but not better enough. He's going board with the very noisy GT3 machine as he's losing time to the Corvette heading through Curva Grande towards the second of the chicanes. Oh, that's a bad chicane for Frederick, though. But it's not really in a place where Marcus Snow can capitalize. The Lesmos aren't really the best passing zones, but if you can get a good second Lesmo in... Oh yeah, he'll definitely have a shot here. About a 10th and change between them heading down towards Ascari. That Corvette just has so much power in a straight line. And sometimes that's just all you need here at Monza. You just need that horsepower. Blue flags are in action. Kubinski has caught somebody. He's already passed a couple, but that's a penalty. Not that it really matters at the current stage. There's some chaos going on back there. I don't know who was sliding. It might have been Heredia sliding on the exit of the Ascari chicane. It was a hypercar. Goes through ahead of the Nexus Porsche. Cavern around the outside of Ganesh. Overtaking his teammate on the front straightaway. Nice and easy for the teammates to handle that. We are still fighting for 12th overall. Frederick versus Crown Royal. Versus Marcus Snow. I mean, I guess that's true, but... The Corvette gets back to 12th with the better line through said chicane. We'll see if lap traffic has any influence, though, as there is Heredia in the 6. As this is supposed to be his actual number. Heredia can get ahead. No, he has to actually physically overtake Snow. That's not going to help Frederick. That's going to give him a penalty right there. Be very shocked if it didn't. I know it was evading action. It's just a matter that the game doesn't necessarily diversify. Ridwan just kind of slightly bumped Snow out of the way there. That's not going to help him try to get back up to the Corvette driver at all. But you'll get there anyway. Pulls alongside, but his run may stall out. That is a very tight fit. I'll go with the hood cam this time because honestly you can't really see much past that windshield banner. Super late braking crossover attack from the Mazda. It doesn't work. He couldn't hold on to the momentum long enough to make that crossover stick. Still very much on the hunt for the 4 car. He's got the softer tires, but he just can't do anything about that Corvette's straight line ability. And then some crafty racing and vehicle positioning from Frederick has just made his life a nightmare. As Luke Allen will lap the pair of GT cars, followed very closely by Matt Hall, who's on the recovery after a bit of a mistake, or whatever may have happened at the first chicane on the first lap. Kubinski is lapping the leaders in his category, in the GT category, excuse me. We got double battles there. We got sports car racing in its prime. 2 hypercars fighting for 5th overall, and 2 GTs fighting for 12th overall, as the hypercars lap the GTs that were fighting. Matt Hall does not attack into the chicane. My lungs will attack, though, apparently. Not the best Lesmo section for Matt Hall. It is again a case where he's on the soft tires, Luke is on the mediums, so there's a theoretical pace deficit, but it's just being counteracted because they're in the exact same car, and it's just down to driver skill and slipstream. There's just a mess of automobiles going through Parabolka at the moment. As Kevin is right up to the back of Heredia, who's probably been taking it pretty easy on his car and his tires. They're both about to lap the GT class leader, with Red One stalking in the not-so-great distance. 200 plus for Kevin. Super late braking. Maybe a little bit of argy-bargy there from the Englishman, but that will put the Nexus car in second place. Does Heredia respond, or does he continue to save his things for later in the race? Such was his winning strategy at Barcelona, was to just be completely pedestrian while on the medium tires, and then turn up the heat on the softs. He might not have a choice but to attack if Kevin keeps getting sideways like that, and he also doesn't want to get passed by Red One, since Red One is on the exact same strategy as he is, and he has a lot more fuel, and also no track limit penalty. Kevin's tires are shredded. Kubinsky's are about the same. I say they're shredded. They still got about half life in them. They'll be able to go to lap 20, I'd say, looking at the information displayed. The mediums could probably go close to 30 or 35, though, if they're taken care of. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna bring Red One into the fray. He's not gonna have any chance of passing into Parabolka. Absolutely not. But for any future corners, Heredia has a new vehicle filling his mirrors. And Heredia himself no longer has slipstream benefits. Kevin really took advantage of that penalty and got well away from the Cadillac. Super late braking, that, almost contact between the two of them. Matt Hall apparently overtook Luke Allen when I wasn't looking. Not much of a fight anywhere in the GT field except for the battle for 12th that generally continues. Frederick is still hanging on to it, but Marcus Snow has not lost track of him yet. And then it's a fight to be not in last between Holdenhorn and Ravi Ganesh. But the top four are pretty well spread out in the GT category. But these two are not spread out. It's not been the best set of Lesmos for Red One, though, so Heredia has some breathing room. So we watch the trio of hypercars make their way to the Ascari section. Oh, that is no bueno for Alex Heredia. Red One will just take that open invitation right there. And now they've somehow, I think Kevin made his own mistake, because they've now bridged the gap back up to him. Red One is not too far removed from the Nexus driver either. Despite his early stumble at the first chicane, courtesy of either lag or a Porsche, Red One is still very much a credible threat in this race. He is the leading car on medium tires, although Heredia knows that he needs to stay ahead of that car, as they are indeed on the same strategy. He is going to fight this one to the best of his capabilities. He's not capable of doing anything at the chicane this time, though. That was a camera that was not helpful. Just shy of 3/10 back, 2.5 now, but that's not really safe distance for an attack. Not into the second chicane. Into the first chicane, if you really calculate it, you can maybe get away with 2.5 tenths. But anywhere else, you're asking for a big collision and a big penalty. I don't make the rules. I interpret them. I don't make them. There's now a 10-second advantage, just about, for Kubinsky up ahead. And he's got more fuel in the tank than Kevin does, for that matter. His biggest threat is not the guy on the same strategy as him. It is Heredia and Hamza. I think it's Hamza. I've never actually heard it pronounced. Further, a bit of snap oversteer. Heredia catches it much quicker this time. Seems he may be pushing the car a little if he's getting snaps like that out of Ascari. Because, as I said, he knows he's got to stay close to Red One. And although I said the softs could even go 20 laps, I don't think their fuel tanks can do that. check back in with the GT category, and... Oh, no. Frederick has made a grave error. I must have missed, because he is down to last. He's going to have to fight his way back past Horn as well as Ganesh. And now Marcus Snow is generally just on his own up here. The Porsche has some solid fuel economy. He's probably got an extra 2 or 3 laps over the vehicles he's battling with at the moment. God, that camera hangs forever. Holy cow. We were able to watch Marcus Snow pass the camera, and he's 2 seconds up the road. Actually, he used to be further up the road than that. He must be on some kind of fuel-saving strategy to try and squeeze an extra lap out of the tires, or out of this run. Obviously, he can squeeze plenty of laps out of the tires, but he ain't gonna get too much further with that fuel tank. Oh yeah, I can just hear from the RPMs of that thing. That is on a low fuel mix and a half. He is going to be the first driver to make a pit stop in the race. Ayrton Frederick will follow him in. And I will cough. Oh, I really should have been looking at the battle for the lead. Heredia, I think, just let Kevin go. Perhaps maybe a bit of contact was the reason that Kevin was out of second place. Already with sportsmanship letting the British driver pass. And Redwan is no longer ahead of him either. So there must have been something that I missed. Redwan will now pit. Surprisingly early, I must admit. He still had quite a bit of fuel and tires left. Certainly more fuel than either of the cars around him did, so I'm interested to see where that's going. He's getting off the mediums rapidly. They may be the slower tire overall in retrospect, since the tire wear at Monza is very mild at best. And once again, having 2 lap GTs, these 2 that have just pit. So that is why that cycle is the way that it is. It'll be a bit... Oh, contact between the GTs! Frederick and Snow make some major contact. I don't know if they had some assistance from behind or not. The game had reset Frederick, and ironically that was about the same amount of time as it took for Marcus Snow to get his car pointed the right way. So, despite everything, their battle continues. Frederick does not have rear damage, so that may have been... It could have been a miscalculation, or it could have, again, been lag. I don't know how they got there, I just know that it happened, okay? I think I did see that one of the 2 prototypes there was in fact responsible, but I can't be certain. Ganesh pits and looking at his fuel tank. Yeah, that's not a choice. That's a requirement now. Robichaud also recently exits the pit lane. And he still was not overtaken by Holden Horn on his way out. There is Holden's teammate and the current race leader coming up to lap him. Oh, that's a miscommunication. Kavinsky holds on to it, but that's not the thing you want to be doing to your teammate, putting him in the grass like that. Especially not when your teammate is racing the lead. Or leading the race. Oh, there is a safety car. Oh, probably for that crash a minute ago. I forgot. Yeah, safety cars do exist. I totally forgot about that. I guess, yeah, probably that crash earlier between the 2 GTs, and if there was a prototype that forced them in, that would be probably why we saw... Well, actually, no, Robbie didn't have a choice. He probably had to pit. I don't know when the safety car was exactly called, because Kubinski wasn't slowing down. He is obviously slowed up now. Maybe a bit of a language barrier. I'm not sure how well Kubinski knows English to be told safety car, and there are no other... Well, I guess Darius is also Polish, I think? Or it could just be a Polish name, I suppose. I don't know. Darius does pit. I don't think the pits were open, though. It couldn't also pits. Okay, so then I guess they were open, because he wouldn't have gone in then. Because he would have known. He's been here long enough. He would know better. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, so that's a free pit stop. GT cars can take a lap back and rejoin at the end of the line. Although Marcus Snow can't do so safely in Ascari, so he has to wait. Not that it matters. Everybody gets a break, and everybody that managed to make their fuel last a little longer gets a massive benefit, but they're going to have to once again fuel save, as we're only going to get just past the halfway mark under the safety car. I'm going to take a much needed drink before I hack up a lung. Mountain Dew is probably not the best thing to soothe a throat, but it's the only thing I have on hand, so it's gonna have to work. I got your sponsor, Marcus. Which is ironic, because he's been battling a car sponsored by Mellow Yellow this entire time. Literally just the battle of citrus going on at the back of the GT class. Okay, so I guess pits were not open there. I guess because the entire field wasn't there, yeah. So that means that drivers like Itkunen and presumably everybody else that has pit under the safety car, they pit because they didn't have a choice, and they'll take an EOL penalty for doing so. Because the pits are not open until the field is all formed up at the back of the safety car queue. Ah, there we go. My neck was cramping there to try and get it back into position. Yeah, for the viewers, just take a minute to, for R&R and get ready for the second half of the race. All my experience in 7.5, 8 years of racing here in ARC, sometimes safety cars can be more stressful than just racing to the end of the race. Maybe that's just me. I find driving 60 a lot more difficult than 160, and strategy was never my strong suit as a racer. I am unlike a driver in that way. Logan Cool was known to be very inventive on strategies, but those don't matter when the Honda is so awful at Monza that it cannot make the field no matter what Logan tries. Oh boy, that was nearly a disaster for Ganesh. He was not paying attention there, clearly. It should be open this time around. The other two GTs aren't too far away, and we're only at the Lesmos, so... It'll be interesting to see how things play from here. Red One is going to inherit the lead, unless he also decides to pit, because, I mean... He's not really used up his tires or fuel any, though. I don't feel like he would. I feel like the track position is very valuable when you're not in any kind of dire need for new tires or fuel. But he was the only prototype to have pit up to this point in the race, so he's going to automatically have the lead. Oh, this is like a centipede. This isn't a safety car line. This is just a straight up automotive centipede. That is up until we have, now Red One is swerving, but yeah, we were very close through the corner. Likewise, Darius will reclaim, I think, the lead. Green gag reflex. Oh, that was fun. Ugh. Huh? Oh, those are me. I'm like, how in the world do you have that much fuel usage but no tire wear? That confused me for a second. I don't know exactly how it works. Are they not? Oh boy, Robbie. Pay attention, man. This is a safety car. You gotta be safer than that. Fortunately for him, only he's the only one that got damaged, so I don't know. I don't think Holden will report him for that because it didn't affect him in any way. Also, the damage will go away before we even take the green anyway, because it's on light damage, so. It'd be on heavy. Like, we got DNFs as a mechanic in other leagues, in other series, but it's only on light here because lag can sometimes cause collisions that didn't happen. Indeed, Ridwan will remain out for the hypercar category, and Darius will stay out in GT. But it looks like those two will be the only ones. Now it becomes a thing of fuel. Yeah, it might be a good idea. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to do exactly what Dominic did. He only took as much fuel as he needs for this stint, because that'll put him out ahead. Matt Hall did the same thing, and that's gotten him out ahead of Kevin and Heredia. At some point, yeah, Darius is going to be asked to pull over. Not pull over, pull to the side, so the hypercars can queue up behind Ridwan. The GTs will queue up behind Darius. Is that on track? That must have been a pit strategy in 1,000 for Marcus Snow. He's up to second overall. And I've seen the straight line speed that Mazda has. He might be tough to remove from that. What is going on? Kevin is having to... this is interesting. We're just splitting them down the middle. Is this the red carpet or what? I'm impressed that there's been no collision for that. That was a little bit perplexing, I must admit. Apparently... Okay, no, never mind. That was an optical illusion. So it looks like the field is in its correct order now, so we will be green. Red 1 will control the race start. Basically, as soon as we clip the apex at Parabolica, although that's a little awkward since everybody has a bit of a different interpretation as to where that is. Since it's a late apex turn, but some people make the apex early. Some people don't make the apex at all. Red 1, where are you going? Oh, he has an EOL. Oh, yeah, that's right, because of when he pit. So, it is not... Yeah, okay, so there's some language barrier, I guess. Maybe he can't hear them in the party. He has to be in the party to be in the race. Yeah, okay, so yeah, these are the 4 cars that got EOL penalties because they didn't pit correctly. There's a bit of confusion because Red 1's AI took off when he typed that message. So, we're gonna have to play a bit of catch-up. They don't have to be that far back, and I hope they know that. Okay, they did figure that out. So, yeah. Marcus Snow is going to lead a lap in the GT category. Considering he started last, that is just straight up impressive. He is, in fact, doing the do right now in that Mazda. Pit strategy or not, that is still quite a thing to have achieved. So yeah, Red 1 will control the green. Whenever we see that throttle bar go all the way up, we will be back to racing from Monza. With just shy of 24 minutes left of action. And now the field is all racked back up for some more close quarters combat. Red 1 is hanging on to the start. And we are green from Monza. Lap 19, we'll take the green flag, and Red 1 will scurry away. Bit of snaking with the GT group, or hypercar group. How am I getting that mixed up? It is 3 wide for 9th place overall. Darius with a huge amount of momentum on the way into turn 1. Holden Horn will fight him off for everything it's worth. Darius is getting a bit of sand in his shoes, and he loses places because of that. Aitkonen and Robichaud both getting ahead of him following that error. Meanwhile, back at the front, everything's kind of staying single file, so it's really just the GT category that got disputed, and it's still being disputed as Robichaud and Aitkonen fight into the second chicane, and it will be Robichaud very clearly victorious there, despite a little bit more sand on his tires. Oh, now is not the time that you want to have that, Holden. When everybody is right there, that's gonna bite. But he might be able to get some distance. He might be able to get into the lead, tangentially, before he has to serve that half second. Despite the penalty, fighting down towards Ascari. Marcus Snow doesn't really fight it too much. Could either be because he knows it's not really his place to fight, or maybe he just knows that that penalty is going to give it right back to him in a second. It didn't, though. He was too passive. He just got a bump draft from Robichaud, and he's going to almost have to send it down the inside. He's lucky to have not smacked right into that Porsche. I briefly forgot I'm not supposed to use that camera. Just a Scooby-Doo chase heading towards T1. The entire GT category pretty much under a blanket. Everybody is here. Call it Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Itkonen overtaking Robichaud, Darius and Frederick fighting it out for 12th. Frederick with a really good exit, actually. He's gonna maybe even get Frenchie on the way out. Turning defense into offense, and he will take the AMG around the outside of Curva Grande. Does Darius perform a bump draft? No, he will abstain. Robichaud now has to fight Darius. Are they 3 wide up there? Oh boy, Frederick has missed. He didn't really have a choice though, he was in a squeeze. Darius will re-overtake, I believe. But he's gonna have to go the long way around. It's Ascari. No, the Lesmos. Brain, come on! There's no excuse for that. His livery is also still illegal. You get a 1-week grace period, but both Darius and Heredia have ignored this. Lungs, excuse me. Holden Horn remain in the lead. Itkonen is going to try and get by the Mazda as well. I thought I heard tires squealing back there. No, I don't think so. I'm basically knocking on his literal doorstep. And now he'll pull alongside, and I think the Lexus will be clear before we even get to Parabolica. Or not. They're gonna go side by side into Parabolica. Plenty of space left. There's almost a little too much respect between these two, apparently. Still at a dead heat on the way out. Looks like a slight advantage goes to the Finnish driver, but it's hard to say for sure. Oh yeah, that is his advantage. The Mazda's speed ran out. Still very much plate racing, just about. Not much has happened near the front except... Oh, never mind, that's happening. Deshaun straight into the back of Kevin, but it ultimately didn't do much. Top 3 are about as they were before the safety car. But there's just so much going on at the in the GT fight at the moment that it's really hard to look away. It's just Monza pack racing. They're just little miniature packs of cars forming. It's like I'm back in the ARC NASCAR series. There's a bit of overlap there too. There's a handful of drivers here who run that, including the 2 that are battling right now. Frederick and Snow are regulars in both series. Frederick with a sneaky move down the inside of the first Lesmo. I think Marcus Snow is just kind of in I'm racing my own race mode at the moment. He's not really contesting too much. Maybe he figured it wasn't even a good idea to fight through there, just because that's not really a place that you want to go wheel to wheel at, or I guess fender to fender, since these aren't F1 cars. Lungs. I'm not having it right now. It's a good run out of the Ascari chicane, but not good enough. The Corvette just continues to just inch away from the Mazda. They must not have too much downforce on that ECR C7. It is a perfect split between first, second, and third in the category. A very unusual battle indeed. Marcus Snow does not attempt anything into the chicane. Look back at the hypercar fight. It's like the first time where I've actively ignored the hypercar battle. because there isn't one, and I've just been looking at the GTs exclusively. There's the pack of Skittles. Oh, Edkinen must have had a bad couple of corners. Or maybe Ayrton just had a really good set of corners. He's catching up to them a little bit. It is still very much anybody's game in the GT category. And the lead's not even a second between any of them. Really, nobody is more than a second ahead of anybody except for, there must have been a mistake back here. Robichaud, yeah, he was not there before. I somehow missed that. Must have been something in the Lesmos. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna give Scott Frederick an easy position on the Volvo. I mean to blow my nose shortly. Come on, body. You only got to make it like 20 more minutes of talking, and then you can do whatever you want. Very passive braking for Holden Horn, it looked like. And a very aggressive exit. The Porsche was doing a little bit of a dance on the way out, and Itkinen saw it plain as day. But he won't be able to do anything. He's not close enough. He's going to be at best 4/10 back when we get on the brakes. And when you're in the position that literally anybody except for Holden Horn is right now, you gotta weigh your options. My God, I am very sorry for the state of my throat at the moment. I cannot clear it. It's congestion. Oh, that's not gonna help you, Husky. Or Holden, whatever. Big moment through the Lesmos. Itkinen may have just gotten his window of opportunity right there. I'm going board with the RCF driver. He's shifted up early and everything, but he still has a big run. Not big enough, though. I don't think he really cares to fight him. A bit of twitching. Oh, that is an awful Scary. Yeah, no, that's bad. That is very not good for the Nexus Porsche, and Itkinen is definitely not going to wait for that. But he's going to be forced the long way around by the Porsche driver. Not the first time he's been forced the long way around at Parabolica, but he didn't get the pass done then, and I don't think he's going to get the pass done now either. And as they're doing this, Frederick is getting closer and closer. It is now only about a half a second back for him. If these two really mess things up, we will have a Corvette in the lead of the class. It doesn't take a whole lot. He's basically right there, 4/10 back or so. Itkinen clear, barely making turn one, where Frederick is allowed to make it perfectly normally, as he wasn't fighting anybody there. The ECR Corvette joins the party, and that thing has some terrifying straight line speed. We're going to see it right here. We'll give the new guy a shot at first place. No, he's going to back out of that. It's not a good idea at second chicane. Even Holden Horn's going to kind of concede for the moment. Oh, he's going to concede some oversteer, too. And those Porsches seem really ornery. If only their engine were in a more normal part of the car. I know it's kind of the idea of it. When it sticks, it really sticks. But when it doesn't stick, it really doesn't stick. That's just the price you pay when you select a Porsche, in most, if not any, racing category. Oh, Frederick is letting off. He didn't even wanna, but he doesn't have a choice. He just has that much overspeed. 165 at a Scary. I was running test laps in the NFR Honda NSX, and it couldn't do that into turn one, barely. But he didn't have a really good run through there. I was on the wrong camera, but oh well. Now it is Marcus's turn, and we're gonna let Itkinen get away because of what's going on here. Frederick will maybe take a shot at the lead again. Holden Horn is just very good at making people hold on the outside, and that just doesn't work at Parabolica. Oh, and he's let his teammate rejoin. Scott Frederick has Frederick versus Frederick. I don't remember if they're related or not. They are 3 wide across the line, if only for a brief second. The Corvette is going to scurry away at doing 170 at the braking point. And Red One has arrived, the blue flag symbol on the top of the screen, forewarning that God has arrived. That's a little too much, but you get the idea. He is a god with a ton of sarcasm, and a lot more horsepower than these cars have. Could maybe displace Edkinen, though. That might be exactly what Frederick needs. Depends on when Red One chooses to get by. And or how he chooses to get by. We'll see what he does. He just forces him. He just gets by, and yeah, that's about normal. He loses like a tenth or two not being able to take the racing line through the Lesmos, but it wasn't really anything serious. But that's not the only car that has to pass them. Dominic is currently making his way through the field. Heredia right there with him. Matt Hall is about to get there. He's already passed a couple, I think. Actually, no. He's only passed 2. Marcus Snow has fallen very far from Grace. He must have had a very big... Oh, no, he's pit. That's what he's done. He's pit, but he's only taken the fuel he needs to make the end. Another interesting strategy from the 4 car. That's the 4, right? Yes, the 4 car. Is that the Gran Turismo 4 number font on the side, or am I just dumb? I'm just dumb. That's not it at all. I don't know what I'm talking about. Edkinen has in fact gained time throughout the course of the hypercars making their way through. Frederick must have gotten a couple of bad times. He's also gotten a penalty, so that may actually be the real reason. He may have just missed a turn and the game is like, oh, you already lost time? Lose more time, fool. Frederick versus Frederick for second in GT. It's not going to be much of a battle, since it's just going to be the Corvette getting a deceleration penalty on the back straightaway. But we can pretend there's a fight. Then again, if you can help waiting, you obviously don't want to wait forever. Oh, they're battling. Matt Hall is going to have to sneak on through! That was a tight squeeze for the FR Racing machine. Yeah, Ayrton didn't really even fight that too much. There's no point in losing more time. 10 minutes to go in the race. Luke Allen making his way through there, along with Kevin, who was further up the running order earlier. So there must have been some kind of mistake made. Here comes that half-second penalty. It's going to put him right behind Holden Horn, I reckon. That's right, it's not here. It's not the back straight. It's the actual back straight. After Ascari. And there's the penalty, and here's the Porsche. Goodbye. Edkinen still enjoying his healthy 2-second lead. It's held about there for a bit now, and the Nexus Porsches have a bit of separation. Well, at least Scott Frederick does. Holden Horn does not have such allowances. Come for the Corvette as he goes Porsche hunting. That's not a great first chicane for Scott Frederick. That degree of separation has slightly evaporated after whatever has just happened there. And now the Corvette's going to have slipstream, so he's going to be a bit of a weapon back there. Anything going on in the hypercar field? There really isn't, except for this. Kabinski attempting to keep Heredia at bay. This is a very big thing to do, because while Red One is leading, Red One is also a reserve. So that for the team, for the driver's standings, it's not going to do much, but this is the 2 race winners fighting for second. Kubinski won at Daytona, Heredia won at Barcelona. Heredia did not make it to Daytona, and Kubinski had a very iffy run at Barcelona. So this is a very important position to hold on to indeed. But he has the wrong tires and very low fuel. Or he has the harder tires anyway, and very low fuel. I don't know That's going to be a little close. A bit of a bump administered by the 671 car. On the brakes, nothing doing. We'll check back in with the GT group. It is chaos. The Porsches are gone. Actually, it's just Holden that's gone. Never mind. I have misplaced my Porsche driver. I just kind of had like a moment in the back of my mind. I was just like, wait a minute, there's a car missing here. What, are just like an invisible question mark flashing on the screen? Just like, oh? Okay, so I missed that. Holden Horn made some big error and fell back into the group of GTs. Blue flags again, but Red One's not going to like what he's coming up to, because that's not Red One, that's Deshaun then. Because, yeah, this is just the whole GT category fighting, pretty much. Okay, not the whole category. 4 cars, still. Well, when they get single file like that, it gets a little easier. Obviously, blue flags are telling them to not be in the way, so that makes, you know, that's what that's there for. Darius will not wait any longer, though. Nearly tagging the back of Davis as he sends it in the second chicane and grabs himself third in class. The pole sitter trying to recover after, I think, maybe a slight pitch strategy error and maybe a couple of racing errors that I didn't really catch on my screen. I missed that. I can't have eyes everywhere and no replay option. Heredia is up to second, so that's a critical hit to Kabinski. He's got a hybrid power. Oh, they both are. And he's also darn near out of fuel. Meanwhile, Red One, despite his half a second penalty, is perfectly fine so long as the tires don't literally fall off the car like what Kabinski had at Daytona. Itkinen's still relatively safe, running his fastest laps of the race when they matter most. And Frederick has a penalty, or Scott Frederick has a penalty. Darius has a bigger penalty. Oh, and there's a battle. Camera not helping any, but yep, they are fighting for 11th overall. Frederick has hung on for a while, and oh, that was awkward. Crossover attack. Can you get traction enough? Enough traction? The answer is not really. But he can definitely get some slipstream, and that can help a little, but it's not going to do enough. Especially not when I reckon he's in fuel saving, because there's no way the Corvette's only hitting 154. Maybe that's what it was. I feel like the cars that are passing Ayrton Frederick now were the ones fuel saving earlier in the stint, and now they're just blowing his doors off because the Corvette's not great in fuel economy. But when you miss the second Lesmo like that, anything can happen, or anything can happen. Oh, now he's up to 2 seconds, but he's gotten so far away from the other two as they fought that he's still going to be fine as he comes to basically a dead stop on the final straightaway. Yeah, that's all been completely neutralized. Oh my god, yeah, he is ultimately fuel saving. That's got to be like fuel mix 5 or something. Just blowing his doors off, but he's still fighting into the corners because he's got, well, the same tire as everybody else. Literally the exact same tire wear and everything, but his fuel lights come on, and you still got to run 2 or 3 more laps of racing. Actually, yeah, by my math, it'll be 2 laps to go Red One's about to take here. Minute 35 laps, so 3 minutes 10 seconds. That's exactly how much time yeah, he would need to run like minute 30s. And I don't think he's going to be doing that. So, 2 laps to go, white flag next time by. That will depend, though, on where he is in relation to the GT field, how many laps they still have to do, but I guarantee you Ayrton is hoping not too many, as, oh my god, yeah, he is hopeless. You might as well splash and go, my guy. You have miscalculated your fuel. And so has Robbie, for that matter. I think the fuel light is less than 2 laps to go, so If you're seeing that now, you're screwed. Unless it just came on for the Super Driver, which is possible, but I don't know. He's still fighting despite no fuel. He's gonna try and overtake the wrong way around at Ascari. Barely space for a Supra. He's keeping his nose there though. That is a tightrope right there, but they somehow get through cleanly. Robichaud has penalty. He will be forced to back out of this fight. Ravi is either gonna go until he sees the checkered flag, or he sees the fuel light expire, or the fuel tank expire. I feel like it might be the second one. Oh yeah, he has to pit. He has 1 tick of fuel. Wow, 1 liter of fuel left in that car. Yeah, he could not get there. The white flag is in the air for the FR Racing Reserve. It's as if he never really left. And arguably shouldn't have left, considering he was still very clearly on race-winning pace. Well, he's fine on fuel. Frederick Ayrton may not be, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get to the finish line. Other than that, though, I think the finishing order is mostly settled outside of some big shock. Because Darius is going to have the fuel. His fuel light only just came on. Same with Robichaud. But he is being passed by Holden Horn currently. Ridwan's right behind this, spectating darn near. He may as well not interfere. He's got the lead locked up. So yeah, he's just going to wait for the straightaway, dust them there. Let's see if Horn has anything to offer that AMG as we head to the Ascari chicane for the final time. This will be the end of their race too, so this is going to be the last set of corners for them to determine who gets fourth in fourth in class. Looks like it's going to go the way of the Vision 47 car, but here comes Ridwan out of Parabolica. The Ferrari will win at Monza. If there were Tifosi here in GT7, they would be jumping out of their seats and probably onto the racetrack as soon as the race is over officially. But critically for Heredia, he will take second place, very sideways at that, over his points rival Kubinski, who will barely have enough fuel to make it to the flag. Luke Allen fourth, Matt Hall fifth, narrowly over Kieran Kevern, who got very close but has run out of time. Fuel saving's probably the only reason he got that close. Deshaun, he made the race. His teammate could not say that. Jonas Itkonen will win for FR Racing as well in Lexus, so it is quite a day for FR Racing, double class win. Scott Frederick was not too far away. Second in his category. Darius, the pole sitter, will have to live with third. And Ayrton Frederick has just exited. I think he may have run out of fuel. And he's understandably not pleased about the way that his final handful of minutes shook out, as, you know, he was the race leader at one point, right? Like, I think just about every GT car in that race, save for a couple, held the lead in the category, which could not be said for Hypercar. We really only had 2 or 3 leaders. I will not get a victory screen. I apparently do not earn that right. But yeah, since we didn't have podium interviews in the last 2 races, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that that's just not a thing we're doing. I asked about it last time. Nobody said anything. I couldn't do them before because I was literally having hunger pains. So at this point, I feel like it's just kind of a thing we just don't do. Maybe Le Mans or something, since that's like a big event. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and assume we're not doing that. So in light of this, that will wrap things up from me and from AutoRacingConnected. The AEC Championship, I believe, I don't know where it goes next. I haven't looked at the schedule recently. I really should do that so I know what I'm talking about. It might be Le Mans, but I don't think so. I know it's not too far, because obviously we're still in the European swing of the schedule. But, yeah, a shout out to DIVEBOMB, to our big boy title sponsor. That's the word. I forget the phrase title sponsor. Yeah, they help us run the whole series. Okay, so it is Watkins Glen next, and then Le Mans. Just interloping Watkins Glen when that could have been at the end of the season, right before Petit Le Mans. Anyway, yeah, DIVEBOMB ARC title sponsor. Huge shout out to them. They basically keep the league running with monetary and promotional material. Also, the Racing Rats, they help us with the mods we use in the Assetto Corsa series that runs on Fridays, I believe. Fridays or Saturdays, it's one of the two. I don't run it, so I don't pay a ton of attention to it. Why do I click spectate? Okay, I'm looking at the cars. I was just curious. I don't know. And then obviously also the Slim League Pro. They help us organize the league. But that is all from me. The host has ended the game, and I'm about to end the stream until this time next week for Watkins Glen.